That was the perfect timing for this video to end. The intro to end. I'm trying to make you laugh. I'm trying to make you feel comfortable. So, hello. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
With Tarot Asked Backwards. This is Casual Part 2. Part 2. Oh, Part 2. Is that going to do it? Should do it.
Part 2, no. And you're setting things up for the peace sign.
There you go.
We need that right now.
There you go. So, and so this is Jeff, Tarot Asked Backwards. He is a YouTube content creator, popular, who started with political readings and now is doing personal readings, as well as sharing the creativity of creation and how you create.
Wow, that's deep, but it's true, though.
It is true.
And it's all tied together, believe it or not. As disparate as those things sound, they're not.
They're not.
To me, it's all one in my little bubble, in my little world.
And
no, not my little world, my big world. What am I talking about?
Everybody, welcome to seeing Tarot Asked Backwards Big World.
Oh, damn right.
That's right. That being said, you are the author of 2 books, Speaks for Itself, and Some Good Writ. Both of these are available on the Zon of Amma and linked below in the description. So thank you for considering those. Support your local artist and the artists that you know. This show is simulcasting, so you may not see all of the chat. And I have I'm Tarot Stash, by the way. Hello. Please like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels. It's free. This is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make any decisions based upon what we say. Please seek professional assistance, really. So,
and even independent of us, please seek professional assistance. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. In these times where things have changed so much, I am finding I sometimes forget to reach out to people virtually, send them an email, somebody who may have information that could help me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
the same way.
So, but yeah. So we have. Oh well, first. You've been very active on the Tube of Yubes.
I like to think so.
Yes, mm-hmm. Yes. And you are later today, is it at 8 p.m. Eastern?
Mm-hmm.
You are with Heather, Soul Alchemy or W/Indigo Jaguar, and Ramon, Moon Scarab.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you talking about?
We are going to be talking about tarot and poetry. We're going to do our regular shtick that we do Sunday nights.
Uh-huh.
Not to minimize it, but we're going to be focusing on the major arcana cards with Moon Scarab.
Mm-hmm.
And poetry will arise from those cards. In fact, to kind of be in the mode of learning tonight, but without being too didactic.
Mm-hmm.
I had started this last week on Tarot Your Ways channel, and we're going to continue it tonight. I had written a poem about the tower, which I'd like to share with everyone today, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
And it's going to be in my next book, and I have decided to dedicate a poem to each of the cards. It might not be this upcoming book, but I have decided, everybody, to do that. And that's the thrust of what I'm focusing on next, because what I found over the past 2 weeks through Tarot Your Way and Hershey and Michelle on Intuitive Interactive. I think it's Intuitive Interactive and not Interactive Intuitive, but
Okay.
whatever. Is that when we do our little homework session, when we do our little lab work in the middle, and we listen to the story that Tom tells us about the card, I can crank out a poem, and I did this for the star card, and I did it for the tower card.
Oh, nice.
In 5 or 10 minutes.
Nice.
It's just one of my gifts. So I decided that why not in the community instead of, I mean, I enjoy those videos about the cards, but I really find that a lot of what is interpretive about the tarot versus the Lenormand is the adherence to one meaning, because with the Lenormand, it's everything around it. With the tarot, it's more independent of that. So the story of the card has to resonate quickly, but there's so much archetypical stuff in the card, and so much what's the other word I'm looking for? Astrological glyphs that are so attached to the card and what it could mean.
Yes.
And it might almost be better to tell a story about it, to try to assimilate your own belief about it. So the story will take the form, of course, of poetry. So.
Yes. That's incredible. I love that. Stay tuned, everybody.
So you have an exclusive. Well, no, I did. I toyed around with the idea, and I told Tom and Hershey, I think, on their channel, but they weren't because Hershey didn't want to share her work. Her poem. She wrote an amazing poem. She's very funny about that, because she'll share her paintings, but she won't share her poetry. And I'm like, you wrote that? I'm like,
is that Heather? Heather won't, or Hershey?
Hershey. Which surprises me, given how deep she goes, given the work she does. Yes. Unabashedly, unafraid.
Yes, and courageously. I think all of us need examples of being courageously authentic.
Yes.
Especially now. So, okay, let's say hi to let's say hi to some of the best chatters, because we've got a few here. I do want to point out Wani R has she said you miss us all because her dad unexpectedly passed away.
I'm sorry.
I am very sorry. Please know I am holding him and you and your family in my prayers. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Medium Betsy Palmer is here. Hello, Betsy. Here before work. And Jacob Bush, a friend of mine who I actually saw last night. I went to a gathering and Jacob was there. It was very nice to share space with you. Madame Maru's House of Cards is here. Hello. Good to see you. Deanne, do you know Deanne, Blue Crescent Tarot?
I do not. Do you know me, Deanne?
Deanne, this is Tarot Ask Backwards. This is Blue Crescent Tarot, Deanne.
Blue Crescent Tarot.
She is the originator of the Sip Sip.
Oh, across all of YouTube?
Well, in my world, she is.
Okay.
She's
also in honor of that.
Yes, I think everybody do a Sip Sip. So much better.
Yeah.
Deanne also is an amazing dancer and a mother of two. Great YouTube content creator. Has a video coming up today. I believe it's at 2 Eastern on her channel. So
I'll have to check that out.
Yes. Tom from Early Ritual is here.
Hi, Tom.
Tom and I are eventually going to be doing a tarot. It's right here. Tarot Volatile Deck Casual. I need to get back with him about that. Did you happen to see the crazy tarot scavenger hunt on Hershey's channel yesterday?
I actually checked it out after I heard about it, and I was like, talk about stressful. I'm like, I don't know why anyone would put themselves through that, because some of that is such a stretch.
Oh my gosh. It was so much fun. And Brian, Blushing Nerd Tarot, PD from the Tarot Lounge, it was a great time. So bluebirds are not the thing anymore.
I was going to say after that,
We've got God's green couch and lemonade stands. Sonia is here. Hello. Rose Blue has stopped by. Got some water lines and problems. Oh gosh. Oh my. And Delphi Ross is here. Hi, Delphi. And Maru has put in your channel. Thank you.
Maru, thank you.
And let's see. Oh, and Maru said I met Jeff in Terry's stream chat.
Yeah, I'm a Terry head, a meditation head. Call it what you want. I have to do it every morning. It's another part of my bubble. And even as the day gets more stressful, I find that my mental acuity stays higher after having meditated. Even with all the coffee I might chug, or even the stress, I don't forget things.
Oh, that's good.
My attitude's better. Yeah. I'm not as much of a bitch on the phone. So,
okay. He's referencing Terry at Holding Your Space, who weekday mornings does a meditation tribe. I am going to be with Terry at 4 p.m. on Monday. We're doing historical mediumship. So, Mallory McConnell is here. Happy Sunday to you. Look, Purple Elephant Deb H is here. Oh my God!
Hi.
See, you made Jeff's day by popping in. So, and Fatima is here. Hello, good to see you, Patty D. Joyful Journey. That's Jen. Saying hi to both of us. Oh, I don't. Jeff, I know I've said hi in a couple of chats, but that's about it.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Blue Crescent. Thank you.
Yes. Deanne's one of my favorite people. Don't tell anybody because people will be jealous. They'll be jelly. So, Book Bewitched is here. Hello. And Medium Betsy Palmer said, Jeffrey looks like a deity with that bright halo around him.
That's now gone. I tried to center myself in front of it so it wouldn't be too obtrusive, because Gerald's very, very good about scenery and design. And I always get nervous about presentation around it. And I love that face. Yeah. I love that. I just love that.
One always needs, I'm a fan. Everyone needs a gimmick, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Soulstar is here. Hello, Soulstar. Great to see you. And Tom is referencing God's green couch. He floated around last live. I saw him in. Yeah. And Medium Betsy Palmer also loves Terry's meditations. So they watch they listen to the playback. Well, you know, it's cool. And Fatima is going through both channels.
Thank you.
And crushing the rest of our dreams, Deanne. Yeah, because, you know, I'm making things left and right. Just posted a bluebird on the Three of Swords and the Arc Tarot for future reference. Thank you. Thank you. And okay. Sonia said, I love poems, Jeff, and have to get yours and Heather's. Or Heather, Annie Bear does poems too. And you are also, and Deb is giving the Purple Heart of Love. So these are two of your books. We've talked about them. I don't know. Do you get reports on if you've sold more copies?
I do, and I get it for the Kindle, and I do get it for for each of those. Amazon has a really funny algorithm too about how they chart your sales, even if on a Kindle, for instance, if somebody reads 8 pages, that could shoot you up to, the top 40 on
Oh, wow.
Kindle. So please, even if you don't, guys, just go over there if you have a Kindle subscription, even unlimited or not unlimited, and
Yes.
scan it. It's the same algorithm I think maybe YouTube might use. We get, I think, 3/100ths of a cent for each page read. So of course the royalties we get on the actual physical books, sort of antithetically to thought, does benefit us more than the Kindle. But the way they track the Kindle chart positions means a lot to me. So they can do those promotions through online book club or KDP, or outside of KDP, where you can buy, the number of people that you want it to sell it to. And I'm done with that. I can't sink any more money into that.
No,
And
don't do
it can
that.
be hard to be asked to give. So anything,
There you go.
we're all struggling. And we all complement one another with what we do with our gifts here. So
I agree.
yeah,
And know your limits and purchase responsibly.
definitely.
So we all know that. If you missed the first live that Jeff and I did, Tarot Asked Backwards, or Tarot Asked Backwards if you want it all in lowercase, it's linked below. The time went really, really quickly, so I have some more notes to try to help.
Oh, good.
And we were also talking. So we were talking about poetry, and you shared how you're now using tarot.
Mhm.
Are you just doing the major arcana as the influence?
I'm starting with the major arcana. I'm gonna do all 78, but the spreads themselves, because with the suits there could be overlap. In other
Of
words, a
course.
lot of times, and especially in cartomancy, whether if you go to Marie's table site, I find one of her biggest gifts is that she can read a regular deck of playing cards, Gerald, and that's something I want to learn how to do very well. But like 5s can mean stops or halts and stops, and 7s can mean plans. So I find that does overlap into the tarot, and I find that does overlap between some of the suits as well.
Yes.
So there is an element of overlap that makes the major arcana especially very much more important, especially something like the Fool, because where the Fool appears in a tarot deck sets the tone for like an opening, or almost like a portal as to what the next card's going to mean or the effect it's going to have. So
yes,
I think from a standpoint of getting myself into the mindset, the major arcana are more important, and then the other ones after. Yes.
okay. I think it's fascinating. Wani is here, and Wani, we were giving you, we read about your father. We're sorry, and there was a lot of love in the chat for you early on. So we're so sorry, and we're sending you lots and lots of love. And and Medium Betsy Palmer said, I did an intro to playing card divination. Interesting and valid.
Yeah, I really want to learn that. And she'll take the whole, I don't know how many cards are in a regular deck of playing cards, but she'll lay them all out. I've seen her do it, and she'll go wild. And she used to have a stand, and she'd show us, and she'd be like, the Supreme Court needs to go, and here's why. And I'll just be like, wow. Yeah.
I like that. Kathy Persons is here. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. You're welcome, Wani. And look who's just shown up, the newest grandmother in the bunch, Hershey.
2 to 6 today. Hershey has something coming in the mail. So, and it's not pretzels, and it was intentional too.
Yes, yeah. And if somebody reminds us toward the end, I will fill you in on that. Sonia said 52 cards.
Okay.
So, and oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so when you talk about the placement of the Fool, say a little bit more about that so people can track it. I think I know what you mean.
A lot of people look at the Fool as a stop or start card itself, but the way it appears in a tarot deck, and I've seen it appear as a card 0 in certain tarot decks where maybe it's not a traditional tarot. There's a tarot that I bought that SG Tarot, Astro, or Spiritual Growth Tarot use called the what is it? I've got it over here. The Visions of Life Tarot. And in this deck right here, I don't know if I can see. Yeah. This deck, the Fool is a 0 card because what it means is basically within the major arcana, the effect it's going to have on the card that comes after it, or if it were to be put in the spread before every other card, tends to inflect or give inflection to the reading that you're giving somebody as to whether something, I wouldn't say is ill-advised, but you're jumping into something too quickly, or the energy surrounding it, meaning almost like the Eight of Wands in the sense that if it's haphazardly or foolhardy, or if it's actually something you need to take the plunge and do, it gives credence to every subsequent card that you get. That's how I read it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Fool is, I've heard it referred to as 0. I've also heard it referred to as card 22.
Yes.
So there's lots of options, and I'm just wondering if maybe in the future I do a Tarot the Stash way where I look at card combinations and do that. I think by the way, Peter J. Watts is here. Good morning, Peter.
Morning,
Good
Peter.
to see you. And Medium Betsy Palmer loves that, Jeff, that idea. So
thank you, Betsy.
That's perfect. So if a Fool show, do you have the Fool in that card?
I've got it somewhere in here, but I'm trying to find. Okay, in here it's referred to as start.
Oh, that's interesting.
You see, and then she's throwing him out of the nest. It's a mother throwing a child out of the nest, almost to his, and the inflection is his fear. And with her, it's kind of indifferent. Like she may love him, she may not. She may feel it's time. We don't know what the backstory is, and yet this is the 0 card. This is the launching pad. This is, So, and this deck is done by Taroko Studio, and it comes from, not that you're necessarily supporting Russia, but it might be made there or in Italy. I don't know, but I've seen it used on one particular channel, and I had to have it. So
I like that, and I'm not saying that I've written that title down.
I think you'd like it. I do.
Yeah. We have Hershey said, just like birds.
Yes. Right.
Just like bluebirds, Hershey. Being thrown out of the nest because it's time. And Joyful Journey said, that is a card I need. She's too old to have to take care of him any longer.
Right. So there could be all sorts of avenues of inflection, as I said, that can affect how you're going to read the subsequent cards. Whether it's a story about her, whether it's a story about him. If no one came to you and said, this is what I'm asking, or, I'm not asking anything, but I want you to read what these cards mean.
Yeah.
It would have that sort of tinge to it. So that I find intriguing.
Yes. Okay. So it was Visions of Life Tarot. Because we got Visions of Life Tarot, and it's by Tarocco Studio. It's Wait a minute. What's the first word again? Why? T-A-R?
Yeah, TAROCCO.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So there we go. I like that. I like that. I need another. I need another deck. But if I do get another deck, if I do pick that one up, then I'm inviting you on for a deck casual. I'm pointing at you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So.
And this is the tower card in this deck for whatever reason. The guy's
Oh,
the plumber, and they have the lawyer's having an affair with his
very
wife.
interesting. Very interesting. And I did see Jane the Seeker is here. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Jane. Hi, Jane. There you go. Jane, I'm looking forward to today's song. So, yes. Okay. Just getting caught up. So Sonia is here. Hello. Okay. Are you going to do, and you don't, this is early.
Mm-hmm.
Are you thinking about putting all 78 plus poems in one book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That will be the idea, because I think, and maybe what will emerge is there'll be something linear where there is a story that's going to emerge through these poems, based on my own voice and based on my own experience that mirrors the order of the cards. And if it doesn't, it'll be poetry, and it will be enough of it to where someone can interpolate what they think is the story of the entire deck through the cards. So if they're seeing something about me, so much even the better. But if they're seeing something about themselves that's based on that interpolation, I think that would be even more wonderful. So I'm planning to do it that way.
I like that, as well as the idea of using that as a form of bibliomancy.
Yes.
You could put a 3-card spread down, then you read poem 1, poem 2, and poem 3 as the interpretation for the card.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you do, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say you could even lend itself to, and what inspired that idea is just the readings that I give people based on the cards that I have. So in other words, even though it is stream of conscious, when I say, okay, so 9 of Swords, right? So, okay, I can get a story off the tarot card and I can give it to you based on a reading, but that reading becomes personalized when it's channeled through an experience that I've had.
Yes.
That transcends time, because I'm reflecting on it currently and what they might consider the past future. In other words, it resonates a different way, and it resonates as I'm writing it. So these are timeless, quote unquote, readings, if you will, poetry readings. And that happens when I do the readings, with Heather. So I think it really is the natural next stage of what I should be doing right now. Because if you read the 2 books, a lot of the stuff is based in some sort of, I don't want to say archetypal, but there's a lot of dark motifs of darkness and light, and there are all these things, death and rebirth, and questions of morality, and all these other things that play out within the cards, and to some degree through the astrological meanings the cards have. So it makes sense to me to do it. It feels right.
I like that. The fact that it feels right is even better. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, yeah. I have not forgotten that you're going to be, look at me, pointing at you. You're going to be You're going to be sharing the tower poem in a little bit, so everybody
Mhm.
hang out here. Your YouTube channel. Oh, and Vicky loves that idea. Vicky Howell.
Thank you, Vicky.
Peter J. Watts and Hershey are going between the channels.
Thank you, Peter.
And Moira is here. Hello, Moira. You started doing political. Now you're doing personal. Please explain the name Tarot Ask Backwards.
Oh yeah, I wanted to do that last time.
Yes.
There are three different things going on there.
Do you want me to hold this up?
When we're asking a question, whether we realize it or not, it's coming through. And this is funny because it kind of ties into what Tom and I discussed, and Heather and I discussed on her show last night about free will. Somehow we got off on this topic, but when you get a reading from someone, you don't always necessarily know if what they're channeling is coming from their ego and their way, not necessarily the way they see a card, but the way they view your story. Yeah. And it's almost as if they're reframing your story with its own backstory. So backwards, tarot ask backwards. And a lot of the other thing that's going on in that is when I started the channel, or even before, I felt that the cards together had a synthetic meaning on their own that was maybe more contrived than intuitive. So to me, you could generate through language your own poem, or you could do it that way and create a reading or a story or a poem, hence backwards. And it should be, and this is my mistake, because when Sheila Inquisitive Tarot had me on, I wasn't billing myself as backwards. I don't mean backwoods, I mean backwards.
Yes.
BWORDS. Yeah. And what I'm saying is that you may not ask the question, or the question might not be asked traditionally, or I might not give you the right meaning. And also, this is another reason to it. A lot of times my videos come out backwards. If you've seen the way I don't have enough room, or I have a motor skills problem. I've always had it. And I don't know if that spatial issue is part of it, but I've always been horrible at geometry. I've always been horrible at things like that. So when I am starting to use a camera, and I'm still a novice, I'm nowhere near the design genius and the ingenue and star that Gerald is, as far as all that stuff.
Good Lord.
I have a problem with orienting. So it's ass backwards. It's ass backwards when you're asking something backwards at the same time. Or it might not be a reading that tickles your fancy, so it's an ass backward reading. Okay. So there are like 5 different things going on with that, and that's why I did it. And it's not the most accessible name, because a lot of people, when they say it, don't say it right, or are worried YouTube's going to ding them. That wasn't even the intent behind it. I just got this voice telling me this is what you need to call it.
I fully support that. I've also fully support me going through and correcting where I've typed in backwards instead of backwards. My apologies.
Oh, but
you
should have
called me out on that. No, you should have called me out on that.
Well, no, everyone makes the same mistake, because I think in one way, in the name of the channel, I might have designated it backwards, but I think the actual URL is backwards, WARDS. So I don't think anyone's at fault on that one, except I am.
It's okay.
Someone will have to fact find that, because I don't remember. But
it is the channel is backwards on the YouTubes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes. But the link is backwards words.
See, that's what I meant.
So
that is what I meant. Yeah.
Anyhow. So okay, so that's great. I love how that has evolved, and it is one of those things you can take it in multiple levels, which is what poetry and artwork does. It gives you the ability to experience things in multiple ways. I mean,
yeah, and I think, this is where we're at right now. I think we're on a continuum of space where we're stuck in this. We're always stuck because we're in this duality, but now it seems more of a radical duality where almost, and I say this a lot in my readings, where we can't always tell now what's good. We don't, what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong. You read some of these articles, whether they're political about 45, or you read articles about what's going on in the world. And there's been such a, or, whether it's Elon Musk or whoever, there's been such a change in philosophy of how to live and what we value, that it almost feels as if the script is changed to where what maybe 30 or 40 years ago would have been considered wrong. There's that sort of exploitation of a moral relativism, which I think is always there still. But I think we're progressing, and it's part of our ascension that we not be horrified by what we read. So getting back to your initial thing about things having multiple meanings, it's even more critical that we are exploring the arts for that reason. Because
yes,
if you're I don't want to say myopic, because there are people that really are myopic and they can't help it, and I don't mean just the nearsighted component, and it's not all reducible to how much you've read, how much you've drawn, how much you've experienced, how much you've traveled. But if you can't see dimensionality in the world, you won't. We won't survive.
correct.
Collectively. And we talked about this last night with free will. It's not about making the decision to ascend and doing the things that put other people down. It's about going into that space for a second that's timeless, where something's going to resonate without the imposition of time, because that's something we've put on ourselves. And the only way that can happen is here.
Yes.
So in here and back. So I just think it's so important. It really is, because you reach a certain age too, and it gets boring. Even the joys of food, you can't even nowadays, if you're not making at least like $60,000 or $70,000 a year, even if you're single, because everything is so ridiculously expensive, find a varied palette. So you've got to look within and find that varied palette, and that's what writing has done for me.
I like
that makes any sense at all, as whacked out as it might have come out. But
whacked out is fine.
Yeah.
Whacked out is fine. Everybody sip. We did have a great comment from Maru. Could be wards, as in magical protection.
That as well. Yeah. It could be that.
So and that's the beauty of it. And that's also the beauty of tarot. Reading cards can mean different things. The nuances are based upon what cards are around it and what you're doing. The Lenormand, where you knight and you can look at things in the past and the present. So, but
yeah, it's really it's funny, because I was on someone else's channel commenting on a video, And with all the knighting, you think she was pretty comprehensive. She's been doing it for at least 30 years. And I saw more in the way of election interference through the knighting than she did.
Interesting.
And I pointed it out, and I said they're going to find new ways to interfere. And then we just this week had all of that with Smirnoff, Alex Smirnoff, not the vodka, with the whole issue about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. So they're already doing it, and they're doing it more directly, more in front of you. And it's interesting to see how something you see. I mean, and when I saw this with Israel, there was no connectivity, Gerald, in the sense that I got a hit in a vision from just Terry's meditation of I wanted to say it was, I can't remember if it was the Star of David, but something. And I looked at the camera, and when I read the cards, something came through in the cards. I'm like, and it was about 2 months before. And I looked and I said, is Israel going to be attacked soon? And it was in my menorah video. But guess what? No one watched that video. So if something doesn't resonate with you, even though I think it is a case in point of the psychic gift I have, that's fine, because I think maybe the strength that someone else sees in me might be something else that just complements the gifts I already have. And I might take for granted what someone else is seeing too when they're reading. So that's so key. It's so key to celebrate all your gifts, you guys. You must. You must. And with the gifts that other people see in you that you don't.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You must. You must.
I believe it is very important, because my
cards.
What is normal for us is not normal for other people, and sometimes people see what we do and we consider it commonplace. Is it's nothing special for us. For other people, it is special. It's different. People don't see it. So, but
yeah, and that's how you grow. If you actually, if you can bridge the two, you can bridge the two worlds, or the worlds that you live in, and you harness every bit of what it is that comes to you in whatever form or whatever medium or whatever way. You will grow all around, and you will also become more whole and relaxed.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about ascending, because you will personally enjoy this world as for what it is versus what they're telling you it's going to be, which, no one knows. So
correct. Deanne, Blue Crescent Tarot, boom, sub to Jeff and hanging out here for now. So you have a new subscriber.
Thank you, Blue Crescent.
So that idea of things, melding together like that, where does free will fit in with that? And you don't have to answer that. I'm just being an ass from
I'd love to answer
yesterday.
it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
The same question last night when we started, because Heather had gone out, and I said, well, this is the time where I need to just throw out my first thought about this. And I think the first thought I had was, if our presupposition is that everything is about free will, and a lot of these channels to which we're subscribed are talking about the ascension and all of how everything will be better once that happens, there are some suppositions that almost are contrary or that negate what they're trying to say, meaning it's like a minus canceling out a positive, and I don't mean in a connotation way. They'll say things like, well, you have a divine contract, Gerald. You were supposed to be the drunk uncle. You came down here to do that, and you came down here to heal that. But you also might, Gerald, go through the next lifetime the same way, and you might die that way. Yet you have the free will to change it. Some people will repeat the same lifetimes over and over again and never ascend. And yet by the same token too, they're told that it's a fixed soul contract in there. They chose their parents, right? And so by virtue of that, they might have chosen something genetic. So I find, and if we're also presupposing, now you're going to get me going off on this. If we're also presupposing that everything's about free will or we have free will, and I question whether we even do, because I feel like
Oh.
just like the star card, so above, so below, everything is sort of predestined. If we're coming from a place where the Big Bang happened, okay, and that was a happy, let's call it a happy accident, and we're presupposing that everything came from that, and it was just like a prime mover sort of thing. Okay, so that interconnectivity that we have, or that started everything, you throw a pebble in the water and it veers out. Tom and I were talking about this. Your free will intersects with my free will, and
Yes.
it doesn't happen to be free will anymore, because we're all light beings intermingling with energy. Okay, the only thing that I think I will ascribe value to is what Tom and Heather said about how we choose to react to something. That might be, but you see, even that I have a problem with, is you have to think for a second.
Yes.
Because you have to think about something for a second, Gerald. Is it free will? Because your free will might be you fucking bitch, or you skank, or
Yes.
or it might be, oh well, I choose not to do this, and I choose to react like this, or even if you temper a visceral response. And then the other problem I have with free will is none of us chose to incarnate here in the way that we were told we are, but yet we have these soul contracts. I just find that a lot of the channels, and there are two readers whom I value dearly, more from a personality standpoint, and I do value one of them a lot, who talk about the urgency of the ascension, and we need to do these things this year. And I'm sure you've all heard this. And if we don't do them, we'll get left behind. I came away from one of those energy readings, and it wasn't a personal read. It was just one of the regular, weeklies. And I just went like, I'm like ready to jump out of my skin, and not in anger, but like I'm never going to be the type of person to jump from an airplane. I'm never going to be the type of person, and I feel like I need to be doing all those things. I need to tell everyone my personal truths. I need to tell everyone my darkest secrets. I need to get it all out in the open. Everything I felt I've done wrong. And I feel like that's a lot to put on a bunch of people you don't know.
Yes.
And I feel like that happens on these channels, some of them.
I agree with you. There's a lot of information. Do I need to know this? Is it my place? But ADub has agreed with you. And Sonia said, I've been remembering what I loved as a child. One was Faye, and now it's come up again in a strong elemental philosophers, angels, connections from past lives. And Madame Maru said, our will has been affected by our life experiences and taught philosophies. And by the way, Chris, Elemental Cartomancy is here. Good to see you, Chris. Chris, this is Jeff, Tarot Ask Backwards, if you don't know him. And where'd your card go? There you go. And Medium Betsy Palmer is love this. Well, and it does go to that idea, Jeff. I'm shouting. Sorry. It does go to that idea is that we don't know all of the things that we influence by our choices. And sometimes and how complicated does it get? Can get really complicated.
And usually a lot of people like to go the other way with it, Gerald. We don't know what things influence our choices. Do you know what I'm saying?
True. Yes.
And
yes.
that could be a problem, because if that's a constraint, that sounds like a constraint on free will. And that's a problem with free will.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and that goes to the issues that we talked about last night about government and where government falls, and these constructs that are put into place when basically it's the chaos theory or it's the quantum physics theory where everything's in entropy. Every sort of being is it's meaning or atrophy or entropy, call it what you want, where everything is just in a state of disrepair, or the chaos theory. And these aren't necessarily bad theories to which to subscribe, because they've been written by some of the most intelligent people in the world. But you've got to understand from where they're coming and why they're putting it on there. So if, when you're thinking about what the ascension is, I just ask that you pause. And I don't just ask it. I think a lot of people on these channels who don't have the platform or the number of viewers that they could have more if they went along with the crowds and didn't tell you exactly what they thought, but they want to keep some of them want to keep their members and grow their channel, which I can respect. This is this is a commerce. This is an industry, like every other one. So, but I'm just saying, someone made a valid point too. It's the idea too that is so attached to, and I don't know if it's more in the Eastern philosophies as much, but it's attached to to Catholicism, and that we need to chastise ourselves for making the wrong decisions or having sinned. And I feel like that's tainted free will, or the notion of free will, to where we are looking now. And that's why we're getting back in the mirror, all the hypocrisy that we are, whether or not the Dalai Lama, and this is a controversial thing, was sucking that child's tongue, all these things frame the world in which we live. And we've got to think about more about the personal than the collective in that sense, I think.
Yes. These are interesting conversations. If more people could have these conversations and be willing to consider what they don't already know, see things from a different angle, could be extremely powerful. Very powerful. Madame Maru said, "And ye harm none, do as thou wilt. How can you know that none are harmed?" Yep. And Hershey has shared, "Your open-minded words have more power than you know, Jeff. Thank you for always showing us your flow." Did you hear that?
I did, and I appreciate that. Although she did correct me that child did not have its tongue sucked, or the child did not suck his tongue.
Okay.
There are some that, I'm not going to say who, there are some that feel that that's what happened. And I said in French, or tried to type it, "Tu sais quoi je veux dire?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So we are at 54 minutes. Can you believe that?
We are?
Yes.
Well, I got to get my phone if I want to read this tower poem.
I was just going to say, we need to have you read the tower poem. And while people are waiting for you to get your phone, please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. It's Tarot Ask Backwards and Tarot Stash. Shameless plug, not shameless plug. Jeff has written 2 books, Some Good Writ and Speaks for Itself. Links are below. Purchase responsibly. Know your limits. And
as I pointed out, Hershey, you've heard this, but I don't think, because I think we had stopped the cameras running during the tower episode, but this is called The Tower, everybody. And this is what I've gleaned. Embrace what's lost. My stomach sank, fearing the worst, and the clouds burst. Yet more than a part of me would fall when I was forced to take a walk off a plank of mediocrity. How it could be such a shock to fall from my guarded home to a place where the fear still wouldn't stop, rolling around slowly, writhing in pain. There has to be a better way than to have run, jumped, and still feel astray. The heavens won't open, but the skies rang thunder and lightning. But to have changed my mind, I had to fall from the tower. Yet it still all feels as if it's all over. And like that, I get in a guided meditation. I have the one about
Mm-hmm.
the star too, and I renamed it the Star of the Universe.
Yes.
Wishing it all away as you woke from what the haters call a pipe dream won't stop you from still trying to realize it or know what it was trying to tell all about you or what it was you were meant to achieve. Though you're the center of the universe, that bitch said, you're going to fall off it and onto your own ass if you don't give up on it and just let your fate come to pass. As I drove through the fog of shame for thinking more of myself than you thought of for me, I thought still I'm the center of my own world and as certain as things could be. And as it were written in the stars, I could go in for a kill. I could say murder is fated or my life is fated. Either way, a star only seen in the dark of night shines on me, but the sunlight of the day's routine won't stop me from being at the center of all of it. So, it'll go through several revisions and I'll try to enhance it as I do everything. But when so easily you might get, and it's free verse, it's never really poetry in the iambic pentameter sense,
Mm-hmm.
or I think content can take many forms, as I always try to say.
Yes.
We need to be thinking about these things and not impose our will on someone else about what a card should mean. And I just
Mm-hmm.
think there are so many skilled readers that are textbook readers, but they don't have like the passion that, say, like Hershey can bring with her ingenuity to her reads, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of love for the poems. Thank you. And
You guys are welcome.
That's an exclusive, everybody. Stay tuned for more. And Hershey has shared, I wrote something just for you, Jeff. I will be sharing it soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
Vicky Howell said, I do the same thing, Jeff. I don't follow poetry traditional forms. Yeah, because it works. So that's been great. Thank you. So when can we expect the 76 more of those?
Well, I need to get this other one. I keep saying it. By summer, I'm going to have the third installment of which will resemble more kind of what the other two were, although it's kind of going into some of the archetypal and astrological things that are going to be reflected in the one coming after, which is about the 78. So I would probably say a year from now, because I do either spring or summer releases.
Sure.
I prefer to do, although the last one came out in a winter versus a summer. So I'm thinking between January 1st of next year and March 31st is what I'm trying to do. So,
and as medium Betsy Palmer has said, no pressure.
Well, that's where, and people do this too. Well, my guides are telling me there is no pressure, but my guides are telling me, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Well, my guides said,
if your guides are saying that, great. Then you listen to your guides and your team and however they want to work with you. I believe that there are specifics and reasons that we do things.
Oh yeah.
And I think that they're to be helpful. So I like it when people pay attention to that. They notice these things. And Chris, Elemental Cartomancy, said, earlier, is the whole point in harm none, do what ye will, not about intention. Like, don't set out with the intention of harming. I think we all need to be the best people we can be. I like that.
That came up too last night, I think, toward the end, and that's another offshoot of free will that we want to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that topic's so comprehensive, you guys. You should, if you haven't subscribed to Early Ritual or Heather Soul Alchemy, please do that as well. In addition to any of the other channels that speak to you, but these are things we need to be thinking about because I think very little is said, and it's not meant, a lot of people last night were like, well, can we talk about something more rosy? I don't think these questions were depressing. I think they're just philosophically unaddressed, and I don't know why. That's all.
I think sometimes it is because they can be uncomfortable conversations where we may not be certain of our answers and we're still exploring. Yeah. We could end up being completely wrong. It's important to do it with us in a space that feels comfortable, where my opinion is going to be valued and appreciated.
And another thing too to think about too, if you want to pursue this whole Dalai Lama thing or just anything in general and get Hershey going, at what point and I think I have this sense that this is my belief, we come out of this world as we come in, meaning, how like we lose our hair and we don't, we go
no
bald.
I don't know what that's like.
Well,
Jeff.
we go bald and we start to have that, if we don't take care of ourselves, that more babyish face again, where it's more round, and then we can't take care of ourselves, or we're incompetent. I meant incontinent, Freudian slip. We came into the world that way. So yes. What I'm saying is we don't have free will really at the beginning. There are some that would argue, unless we're in really perfect health, for whatever other reasons other than what I just said, we don't have free will going out. At what age does free will begin, if we have it? Does it begin at the age of reason? Does it begin? And I threw this one out too, and we couldn't answer it. We could not answer it. So please rethink. I don't say, and that's why I like tarot so much, you guys, because it is about the mysticism of what you can influence through manifestation and meditation. Okay, because that really has nothing to do with free will. And that's another thing. I don't want to keep Carol too long because he's very busy, but choice and free will are not the same.
They are not.
Choice and free will are not the same thing.
They are not. Yeah. You are correct. Well, and okay, so Deanne shared, when my best friend doesn't necessarily agree with something, she says, I love that for you. This come to mind with my guides, your guides talk. Yes. And Hershey did say, without pressure, we wouldn't have such beautiful crystals and stones.
That's a valid point too.
Yes.
Hershey, where do you stand on the whole my guides say, your guides say? We talked about that, I think, after you left last night. Heather had an interesting discussion about that. Yeah. So
the after show.
No, it was still live. We ran almost 2 hours last night. And the battle of the guides.
Oh my gosh. It's an interesting question. Where does free will begin?
Miss Carol D was there with her guides, and
nice. So, but yeah. Well, where are you? Hershey's like, ugh. So later today, you will be on with Soul Alchemy, W/Jaguar Intuitive
Indigo Jaguar.
Indigo Jaguar at 8 p.m. with you and Ramon are the guest. So, and Hershey says, I'll tell you when I see you in 30.
Please, yeah.
So you are going to be doing something with Thomas, Tarot Your Way.
That will be at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Central.
Yes. And what card are you talking about?
I think we're looking at, what card are we looking at, Hershey? I think we're looking at the Moon card. We're looking at the Moon card, which has a lot of possibilities.
Oh yes.
Today, reversed, and of course a lot of poetic possibility as well. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Yes, we have verification, the Moon. And you're simulcasting that one?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. You do some pop-up lives, so I encourage people to go over to your channel, do the notification bell so that they can see those. I've got lots of fun stuff coming up this week. Subscribe to the channel, you'll see it. I've got my landing page arranged to where you can see upcoming lives. So, what's next for your channel before we head out?
A collaboration with someone whom I'm not going to disclose yet because they're a little gun shy, but they're game for a poetry read in the sense of developing or workshopping, but yet workshopping through channeling. And we're going to do a channeling while we do it. Yeah. And we're also, it's kind of the way, if you saw Heather, she's going to be doing an interactive painting this week. I don't know if you guys saw that in any of the previews.
I did. Yes. Yes.
With someone. And also we're going to be looking at, we might be looking at one of 4 things, one of which might be Agatha Christie and how Agatha Christie died.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's within the next week or so, if we can coordinate it. I work at where I'm seated right now, 8:30 to 5, with Friday off and Sunday off. That will change when open enrollment period for insurance ends, which is at March 31st. And then it's Saturday and Sunday off. But this is my home away from home. I like to call my desk my island. It's my best place in the world. It's my best place. As messy as it might be, it's my own little nook in the wall. So
yes. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate the time that you've spent with me.
I appreciate you.
I think this has been so much fun, so enjoyable.
You too.
So thank you all. Thank you for everyone for being here.
Thank you for subscribing and liking, you guys.
Yes.
And,
see,
yes.
Because it's free. All right, everyone, you take care, and please remember to be kind to yourselves and to support everybody else. I've got to fly, so it's time to go.
She said, Gerald, please tell Jeff how to make an MAD or a mod. Yeah, that's another thing. Can you do that through StreamYard? Hand someone a wrench?
You cannot. You have to have YouTube open.
Okay, and
so
where in YouTube?
Open another YouTube. Open another tab, and open YouTube to this live, and then I will tell you that after the live.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.